This is very important topic. Day 37. Day 37. Let's close all the things first. Okay. CSS3 positions. Under the layout, first thing we are going to see the position. New index.html and style.css. Okay, style.css. So when you talk about positions, there is a static position, relative position, fixed position, absolute position, and the sticky position. And what? Sticky position. So let's have HTML5, and here we can say static position. A normal flow means I have H1, and here we can say static position. Okay, now let's have this div and let's create the class static and link rel, or let's not create a separate style for better understanding purpose. Let's do it here only, style, and the div dot stk. I need that div who has attached the style stk. Okay, I need that div whose style is stk, and position static. Can you see that? This is static position. Well, there is nothing fancy in the static position. Yeah.
Here we check that we can directly define like div or div or paragraph in the styles.
For what?
Okay. In the styles, if you want to define a style. Okay. So here you mentioned div.stk. That means which will be specific to that div. That class only.
Correct. It is
that class only.
Yeah.
Not for all the divs.
Yeah, not all the divs. Correct.
So this is also one of the way that we can use.
This is also one of the way. But
means specific to the particular class which is used for that
particular div.
Element.
Yes.
Yeah, element.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is also one of the way, but this is not any. This is a simple technique to access it, and this is the older technique to access it. So in today's thing, how do you access this? So you can use the pseudo selectors also for accessing this, but this is easy to understand. So div with the SDK. This is the div with the SDK, right? Now this will not be getting applied to border 1px solid red. Only it would be applied to this div. So this is another selector. We can create n number of selectors, right? We can create n number of selectors. So there are some attributes also over here. By means of this attribute also you can select the element. Getting my point? CSS selectors, there are many CSS selectors and many combinations are possible.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is this. You getting my point or not?
Actually, your voice is breaking. Just a minute. Is your network is okay,
Yeah.
or maybe problem with
No,
my network?
I have proper network.
Okay. Okay. I will switch to another
Yeah.
network.
Hello?
Yeah. Can I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. So I switched. Can you repeat the last sentence?
Yes. So here, what we have done, this class we need to target. There are multiple ways to select this class.
Mm-hmm.
Straight away, you can write the .stk over here. It's same like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's same like this. You write .stk or something like that. But from here, STK is applied to the multiple elements, and out of that you need to select only div. So this thing you can use. Okay. Now, if you look at the static position, is the natural position of the HTML element. This is what natural position. Natural position means in a flow you add h1, then you add this div, then you add this div. It is nothing fancy over here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there is a nothing fancy over here. The elements are positioned using top. The elements can be positioned, so we are understanding this position property. And this position property, how do you position the element? What are the different ways to position the element? Static, relative, fixed, absolute. Well, this is the default way. Okay, now let's see what do you mean by relative. Let us see what do you mean by relative. Now I have given position relative. Now here I can say from left 30 pixels, from top 70 pixels, right? And now you go here, STK, left 30 pixels, position, where is position? Oh, position we have removed. Position relative. Can you see? The relative position have been changed. When you say position relative, you need to use top, right, left, bottom properties. What do you need to use?
Top right.
Top, right, bottom, left, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So top, right, bottom and left properties of a relatively positioned element will cause it to be adjusted from the normal position.
Mm-hmm.
The other content will not be adjusted. Can you see here? This is the natural ordering of this div. It is
Mm-hmm.
at the same location, but the location of this div have been changed. Location of this div have been changed.
Just a minute, Aniruddha.
Yeah.
Yes, Aniruddha. Yes.
Yeah.
So here, uh, in that case, only left, top, right, bottom
Yeah.
properties also we can set. But is it necessary to say position is equal to relative.
Relative, yeah. If you don't do that thing, it will not work. Can you see that? That's what the position relative is. That's what the position relative is. So we have seen the static position and relative position. When you talk about, it's assigning left, top, and like that.
Okay, so if you provide a left and left right top and the position is static, what will happen?
Nothing will happen.
Nothing.
The default position is a static only. Natural ordering. What is the static position?
Natural.
Natural ordering. So this is the h1, this is the div, this is another div. Now next position is fixed position. Next position is what? Fixed position. What is fixed position? When you say fixed position, it is position according to the viewport, which means that it is always stays at the same position, even if the page is scrolled. Even if what? Page is scrolled. And here we use top left, same like a relative. Here we can say fixed position is fixed. Now refresh it. It's like this. Can you see? I'm scrolling, but that element is not moving from there.
Okay.
This is the fixed position.
Basically, in what scenario we use it?
Okay.
Means it is not.
Now, can you see here this thing? These are the fixed position things, right? These are the fixed position things. Many places you will find the fixed position. The navigation bar is also fixed position. It is not moving. Page is getting scrolled, but it is not moving. Okay. Now next position is absolute. Absolute position. Let's create separate page. HTML5. And here H1. Absolute position. This is a div. This is div with absolute position. So again I have one more div, and inside that there is a one more div. So here we can say outer element with a relative position, and here inner element with absolute position. So class, here we can say relative absolute. Style, a div dot relative, div dot absolute. So here I will explain what's happening. Position relative, position absolute. Okay. Now, what do you mean by absolute positioning? An element with the absolute position is position relative to nearest position ancestor instead of position relative to the viewport, like fixed. However, if the absolute position element has no position ancestor, it uses the document body and moves along with the page scrolling. Absolute positioning, if you look at this, if you look at this is the relative container. Okay, and inside that there is one more container. So when you talk about the absolute, it's a relative to other thing. So an absolute element with the absolute position is position relative to the nearest position ancestor. Instead of, in a fix, what happens, it is relative to the viewport, but here it's not related to the viewport, it's related to what, nearest ancestor. Okay, now let us see. Here position is relative, and let's make some width 400 px, height 300 px, and let me give some border 1 px solid red. Position absolute. So this is the absolute positioning. Here we can give top 100 px, and from right 0 px, and from left 30 px. So here index 02 dot html. See, now this is a relative to this outer thing. Hello?
Yeah.
So if you have a situation where the inner content, okay, let's give the border also. If you see this thing is relative to this outer, which is different than relative and which is different than fixed also. If you want to move this outer one, you need to set top and this thing over here. But the div is inside the div. I want to position this div. So outer should be relative, inner should be absolute. Inside this page, there are 3 columns. First column, second column, third column. And inside that column, you need to move the things. Then you need to do this logic. Well, you don't need to do all these things. Whenever we learn the flex layout, all these things are obsolete. You will use flex layout and the grid layout to do the things, but you should know this positioning. That's why I'm covering this. Otherwise, it's outdated.
Okay. So, does this mean like for absolute positioning, you must define parent of the element.
Okay, let's remove it and see what happens. Okay, see, it is relative to the viewport. It is relative to what? When you say absolute, it is relative to viewport. This is the difference. But I don't want a relative to the viewport. What I want relative.
It's the area of the web page, right?
Ha, viewport means visible area on the screen. Now see, so this inner was somewhere here. But as soon as this outer element have been added, it became relative to this outer one. So I need to keep outer as it is. And inside that I need to move this element. That is the absolute positioning. Correct? Any question?
Means that absolute will consider the
Outer.
left top whatever positions you have mentioned. According to that outer area. Suppose the outer area, if you shift the outer area a little bit to the left or on the bottom side, so the inner will be adjusted according to the outer one.
Correct. Relative will work to the viewport. Relative work with respect to the viewport, that is the body. But now I don't want to have a body, but there is one element, and inside that element I need to work, and in that case you will need this thing.
So this inner will, suppose you specify top for this inner element, inner div. So it will consider that top from the
inner.
outer.
Correct.
Correct.
So yeah, top from this red line. Yeah, and left from this red line.
Not from the viewport.
Not from the viewport.
It is more like means for absolute, the relative keyword suits more. It's related to some word, but it is not like that.
Not like that, correct. So this is one positioning, and the last positioning is the fixed one. Sorry, not
Fixed.
yeah, we already have seen. It's a sticky. Last one is what? Sticky. Now let's have one more div here only. Div. I'm sticking to top, and class stk. So div dot stk position sticky. Position what? Sticky. Top 0 means it will go to the top. There is no padding from the top. Okay. And background color caded blue. Foreground color black. Okay. The position is sticky, remember that. Position is sticky. And now what we can do, let's give a style, padding bottom 2000 px, refresh it. So scroll bar would be getting added, but can you see that is getting stick to the top? Can you see that whole scroll bar is there, but it is sticking to the top? Navigation bars are the example of this.
Then what is the difference between fixed and stick?
Fixed will remain at the same position. Fixed will remain at this fixed position, but it will change according to the scroll bar. It will change as per the scroll position or movement of the scroll bar. Can you see this is fixed? It will not stick to the top. It is remaining on the same place. But that's not the case with the sticky. Sticky is sticking to the top or whatever position we have given.
It always stick to the top.
Yeah. No, we can do it left wherever you wanna do that.
But this will only in case of the scrolling, right?
This will only in the case of what?
Scrolling the page.
Yeah, scrolling the page. Right. The position sticky. The sticky elements toggle between relative and fixed. This is the relative plus fixed, but depending on the scroll position. It is position relative until given the offset position is met in the viewport, and then stick to the place, that is the fixed. First it's a relative. First it's a relative until you have given something. But the movement of the scroll bar makes it fixed. So sticky is a combination of both fixed and relative. Any question?
That means it come into picture only after scrolling.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be a combination of fixed and
Yeah. At this point, it's a position is it's a relative, kind of a relative. At this point. At this point, it's a sticky. Right? At this point, it's a relative. Why relative? You can you see top we have applied? Just give left 100 px. Right from the right side 100 px. Refresh it. Oh, that's because of the background color actually. Okay. Any questions? Otherwise, we are good to wind up the session. We'll meet tomorrow.
Yeah. So today unexpectedly.
No problem.
Was not planned.
Yeah. Let me turn off the recording.